evening and welcome to Miles Offside, our live sports show here on a Monday night at YorkTV studios at Tower House in Askham-Bryan. Now, obviously tonight is quite a big show because the news broke today that Chris Brass has been sacked as the manager of York City. And I have in front of me the announcement, these are the words of Jason McGill, the managing director of the club, and he says, following Saturday's home defeat to Forest Green Rovers and due to our disappointing start to the season, the board of directors made the unanimous decision to relieve Chris Brass of his role as first team manager. Viv Busby will take on the position of caretaker manager with immediate effect. McGill added, on behalf of everyone at the club, I would like to thank Chris Brass for all his hard work and commitment to York City Football Club during his time as player manager. So big news. Now, tonight, our guest is the York City captain, Steve Davis, so we'll also be asking him about his feelings about this development, but also some other things. And with me, of course, is my usual sidekick, Dave Johnson. So, Dave, if anybody wants to text in, what are the rules?
It's 84070. You put York at the beginning of your text and leave a space and then your message. And we're expecting quite a few questions tonight.
Yeah, I mean, here is your chance. I know there's been phone-ins and all sorts of things during the day, but here's another chance to speak to somebody directly involved and make your comments or ask your questions. So, as usual, we'll start with the Premiership before we move on to talk about City. And Dave, let's have a look at the results.
Yes, a good result for Villa, 3-0 against Portsmouth. Whittingham, Angel and Solano all in the first half. Chelsea 1, Everton 0. Ian Robbins getting me on the goal there.
Yeah, he seems to have broken his way into the side there, Dave.
I think he's a great player. He looked brilliant in the European Championships. I thought he was fantastic. So it took a little while because he was injured, wasn't he? But now he's in. I didn't think him and Duff could play together, but
and he's only
now Chelsea.
He's only 20 years old as well. I mean, he doesn't look it.
No, he doesn't. He looks like Alan Shearer, doesn't he? He looks about 35 or something, but no, he's doing all right. The next one is Crystal Palace Arsenal. A bit of a surprise there, to say the least. 1-1.
So what's happened to Arsenal? That's obviously a defeat at Old Trafford, a draw at home to Southampton, and a draw away at Crystal Palace, and they've been knocked off the top. So where's it gone wrong?
It's hard to say, really. I mean, after 49 games undefeated, suddenly a little blip. I mean, it's only 2 points out of the last 9, which, you know, is bad for them. But at the same time, at least they've not lost 3 on the trot or anything daft like that. But Arsenal will still be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, without a doubt.
That's true, but obviously with the 2-horse race with Chelsea, you know, a slip-up's a slip-up.
It is, but I think Arsenal have a bit more experience when it comes to running than Chelsea, and that might tell. But we're still a long way away yet.
Yeah, long way to go.
Yeah. Liverpool 0, Birmingham 1. Darren Anderson, all sick notes from about 2 inches.
I'm surprised he's still playing.
Yeah, it is amazing. But that's a poor result for Liverpool.
And obviously that comes off the back of that terrible injury to Cisse. Do you think that's obviously Liverpool 0?
That made me feel quite sick to watch that.
Well, we talked about that last week. It was pretty gruesome. But you know, are we going to see Liverpool struggling to score goals now?
Liverpool they've not got vast amounts of money, but they have enough money to bring in an international striker in January, which I fully expect them to. I think somebody, maybe not Morientes, but somebody of that ilk will cover. They're working on it now for definite.
The damage might already have been done by Christmas, though. That's the problem.
It may have been, but this is the transfer windows. What can you do? I'm sure they would have somebody now if they could. But you know, you can only work within the framework, can't you? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Norwich 1, Blackburn 1.
So are Norwich ever going to win a game, Dave? If you can't beat Blackburn at home
with 10 men.
With 10 men.
I know. I don't understand that. I mean, Norwich, I really like them in the fact that they just battle and they don't give up easy, and they're a difficult team to beat. Not many people have beaten them this season, but they just can't get that win, can they? They're 4 minutes away from it this week when Paul Dickoff popped up and scored. And I feel sorry for them, but I think they will eventually. I think they've got Southampton next week, so
it's another chance.
Yeah, it's another chance. But they can't. They have to be beating these teams that are down in the dogfight with them at the bottom. They have to get something from them games.
Well, I mean, Arsenal went through the whole season last season unbeaten. Do you think Norwich can go through the whole season not winning a game?
I hope not. I live with a Norwich fan, so I can't say that.
Dear.
Yeah, he'll complain, but yeah.
Hide all the cutlery.
Yeah, definitely. Southampton and West Brom, fellow strugglers there. 2-2 draw, so that went in Norwich's favour as well. Rob Earnshaw getting his first 2 goals for West Brom.
Yeah, but he missed an absolute sitter there, didn't he?
Oh, he did. Yeah. He tried to be too flash, didn't he, when he took the
overhead kick? Yeah. Well, I think West Brom might live to regret that, because those 2 points that they've dropped there, I mean, they were in control of that game. I think that could be the difference.
Anders Svensson getting a brace for Southampton as well. And managerless Tottenham, although they're not anymore, are they? They've appointed Martin Jol this afternoon.
Have they, this afternoon?
But Tottenham 2, Charlton 3. It was 3-0 to Charlton, and Bartlett got 2 and then got himself sent off.
So what's happened there? Because Santini started very, very well.
Yeah.
And Spurs were, a top 6 side, and you thought that they'd move onwards and upwards. We were even in one show talking about how they might actually challenge Arsenal for a change. Well, certainly give them a good derby. But again, they've gone down the toilet. What's happened?
I don't understand that, because they've got, when you look at the strikers they've got in Keane and Defoe and Canute, and they've got a lot of sort of creative midfield players, but we haven't got anybody who's going to get stuck in. You know what I mean? You need a Batty style character who's going to hold it all together. And
Jamie Redknapp?
No.
He's a bit powder puff, isn't he?
He is a bit. I think they've got too many of the same type of player in midfield, and they're not really creating anything. I mean, they've scored very few goals. I know they've got 2, but I think they had 8 for the season in the league before that. So,
well, when you've got Canute, Keane and Defoe,
they should be banging them.
They should be one of the top scorers in the division. But
you can only score if they give you the ball. They can't take it all the way up there on their own.
Yes, never a true word said, Dave. Okay.
The Manchester derby, 0-0. Now, I watched that. I thought it was a great game for a 0-0 draw.
Yeah. Negative tactics from Man City, though, wasn't it, really? Of
course, but you go there and you set your stall and you try and get a point, which is what we did. It would have been very difficult for them if one of those penalty decisions early on had gone in Man United's favour and they'd scored, and then City would have had to change things around, because they were set up to go there and just defend. But the longer we did it, the more Manchester United got frustrated, and Smithy got a red card, and it all went wrong for them.
I mean, Fergie's in the paper today saying that his team's not good enough to win the Championship. Would you go along with that?
Yeah, I would, at the moment. I mean, again, Manchester United are one of these sides that can always bring other people in, and they can always spend money, and they can always add to the squad and change things around in January, and I think he will. I think he's going to have to. Because at the moment I think we're sitting in 7th, which isn't good enough.
Yeah, it's poor, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Middlesbrough 1, Bolton 1, a rerun of last year's Carling Cup final.
No, I saw that last night on Match of the Day too, and that was absolutely phenomenal injury time period there. And eventually Boateng scored. I think it's Boateng's. I think it's only something like his first goal for 2 years or something silly.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, he was happy to get it, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But again, I mean, Middlesbrough and Bolton both doing very well this season. Fair result?
And it's 2 English managers, and you like to see them doing well. And McLaren, a York boy as well.
Yeah, born in York, good to see.
So it's nice to see English managers actually up there and competing.
And I think they might be a bit disappointed after they absolutely butchered Lazio.
Yeah.
I mean, Lazio were very, very poor, but Middlesbrough played well.
Yeah.
So again, it's easy to disrespect Bolton, because when you imagine Bolton, you think, but they're a good side.
That's definitely a good side.
It's not a bad
point. Well
point.
organised, And the last one is Newcastle 1, Fulham 4, which was a bit of a shocker to say the least.
Fulham 4.
Yeah. Collins Johns, Steve Mulbrunt got 2, and Bella Morty, before Craig Bellamy got a bit of a consolation at the end.
It was one of those games, though, wasn't it, where Newcastle didn't really even deserve to lose. I think they deserved to win the game.
There was 20 shots on goal or something like that, and Mark Crossley, of all people, had an absolute blinder. He saved 2 with his face, it just hit him straight in the face and went over the bar. But I think when a goalie has that sort of game, it's
not your day.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we have a look at the league table? The top of the Premiership.
There's Chelsea.
Bit different this time. Chelsea top of the league.
Yeah.
Everton in 3rd still. Obviously Bolton, Middlesbrough cancelling each other out a bit. Villa up to 6th. United in 7th. Yeah. I mean, Newcastle's run comes to an end. I mean, they would be expecting to be top 5 by now, I think. So
If we had the traditionally poor start though, didn't we? So
Yeah.
they'll come good up, I would have thought.
Yeah.
I think Soonish knows what he's doing.
Now down at the bottom, these days it seems the bottom's a lot more interesting than the top. But yeah, they have Norwich and Blackburn who shared that draw, and Southampton West Bromwich shared a draw. So probably the only team to benefit there is Birmingham, who seem to have pulled away a little bit. And obviously Spurs now looking a bit dodgy there in 14th.
Palace have got a little bit of an unbeaten run going as well.
Yeah. Now,
Fair play.
obviously that's the Premiership. I'll also be talking about what's happening this weekend at the end of the show. Local results in the Yorkshire region. You can have those up. Now, sadly, Dave, you're a bit of a happier man than me today because Leeds won 4-2 at Preston.
Yes, and Brian Dean scoring.
Brian Dean.
Yeah, I found out the last time that Brian Dean scored for Leeds, Howard Wilkinson was manager and Gary Barlow was at number 1. Which shows you how long ago that was. But yeah, David Healy getting 2, which is always nice.
Yeah, it's rubbing his old club's nose in it a little bit there.
Yeah, fair play to him though.
Disappointing result for Sheffield United. Hull won, of course, and well, not much to dwell on there. Sheffield Wednesday.
Got just an interesting fact for you, or not interesting fact, depending on your point of view, but Hull scored the quickest league goal for 40 years, 7 seconds.
Oh, God.
Nicky Barmby.
Well, what a Walsall doing there. So there are the local results, and obviously the topic of today's show is of course York City, and if we can have a look at the conference results for this weekend, they don't really look like, well, it's not very pleasant. There we have it, we'll go through that. An amazing comeback by Morecambe, who were 3-0 down at Aldershot, came back to draw 3-3, and obviously you've seen our local rivals winning 3-0 at Dagenham, as we did actually, I'll point that out. Carlisle roll on, and there of course at the bottom, York City 1, Forest Green Rovers 3. Now before this game, Forest Green had 4 points, had won 1 game from 15 and has scored 11 goals, so that's a pretty disappointing result, Dave.
It is,
to say the least.
It's the first home game I've not actually been to this season. I missed it, and I'm actually quite glad that I missed it. It would have been too depressing, really.
I mean, the game was basically done and dusted very early on with 2 quick goals. First goal after 73 seconds, which was pretty depressing. And obviously, it's 3-1. Obviously, Andy Bishop scored in injury time. So again, a pretty meaningless goal, really. You know, they were 3-0 down. It could have been 4 or 5.
We do have the goals for you later on, though.
Yeah, on the show today, as you know, YorkTV has been filming the games this season, and we've got the goals a bit later on when Steve joins us. Now, that puts City, and we're going to look at the table later, but that puts City just above the relegation zone. Mm-hmm. There's no chance of them getting relegated though, Dave.
Well, I would certainly hope not. I was saying this all last season though. They're never going to go down, they're never going to go down, they'll win sooner or later, and it got worse and worse. But no, I can't see it, that can't happen.
Okay, well, we're going to be joined by Steve Davis, the York City captain, after the break. So stay tuned and text in if you want to ask him something.
This is a smoke alarm. It uses ionization technology to detect the smallest traces of smoke. It has an 85 decibel alarm. It conforms to British Standard 5446. It comes with a 5-year warranty. This is James. He took the battery out of the smoke alarm because it kept going off.
For more advice, visit firekills.gov.uk.
Join me, Dawn,
And me, Nick, every Friday for York Today
at 7:30am.
and 5:30pm.
A look at the local news,
Current affairs.
the weather, and what's on for the weekend.
Not forgetting the lifestyle section.
Are you part-timers doing it once a week? I'm on a Monday, a Tuesday and a Thursday.
And me, Paul, on a Wednesday.
Thank you. That's got to be a wrap.
Hello and welcome to Huntington Stadium. Welcome back to part 2 of Miles Offside, and in the second part we're joined by York City captain Steve Davis. So welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for joining us. Obviously today must have been quite a difficult day for you.
It has. It's been a sad day, I think, for York City. Everyone knows about Chris's history with the club. A very loyal man. And he's obviously been relieved of his duties, which is disappointing from my point of view. I mean, he's the reason I came to the club. Got a good friendship with him. Knew him at Burnley. So it's very disappointing, but I'm sure he'll dust himself down and he'll move on. And if he decides to stay as a player, then I think it'll be to York's benefit.
Now, obviously, it sounds like a silly question, but you know him very well. How do you think he's feeling at the moment?
Well, I spoke to him yesterday, and obviously he's very disappointed. It's not worked out how he wanted it to. He's put in a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of hard work into the job, and I just said to him, it hasn't worked out this time, but you can leave the job knowing that you've given it your all, you've given it your best shot, and that's all you can ask.
Because I mean, fans often complain that about footballers that come just take the money and they don't they don't play for their shirt. But Chris Brass is someone who before he became the manager was a hero at York City, and you'd like to think he would still be a hero.
I think he will be. Yes, I think he's always going to be remembered fondly by the supporters. And that's if he does go. Hopefully he'll decide to stay on as a player, because he'll have a big part to play in in any success that York might get in the future. But he's a proud man. He's disappointed the way it's turned out. And like you said, in the past he's taken wage cuts, and and he's shown to the York people that he is York through and through.
So why do you think it hasn't worked out?
I don't know. It's difficult. I mean, he's been in a position like last season. They won the first four games, and then after Christmas, it's on that slippery slope, and you just couldn't get a win for love nor money. So disappointing from that point of view, relegation obviously, but you go into this season with a new optimism and hope, and the new players you brought in are going to do their stuff, and you'll take a step in the right direction. But the way the fixtures turned out, it was a difficult start when you're trying to find your feet. And despite a few good results, I mean the result at Dagenham and away at Burton, and the home result against Stevenage, I think that the last three results, Barnet, Carlisle and obviously Saturday, have sort of sealed his fate, so to speak. So very disappointing.
So I mean, he was in the press saying that the players have to also shoulder some of the blame. I mean, would you agree with that? Obviously you've not been playing, so what's your impression?
Definitely. I think that the manager picks a team. You work on the stuff you're doing during the week. Everyone knows the job that's expected of them when they go on the pitch, and once they're on the pitch, that they're out of your control really. You can't, we're going to watch the goals a bit later on. You can't, if someone spins off the back of you and scores at the back post, that's not the manager's fault really. Injuries have been played a factor in the poor season as well. So the players have got to shoulder the responsibility, like Chris has said.
Is it hard though when you're on a bit of a losing run and there is a lack of confidence? If you go a goal down early, is it a lot harder to fight back?
Yeah,
it
is.
Like, oh God, it's happening again.
I know. Well, confidence is a massive thing in football. I mean, if you're at the top of the league and you're confident, you're going into each game thinking you're going to win it. When you're down at the bottom and confidence is low, you're going into each game hoping you're going to win it. And obviously the last three games with Carlisle were 3-0 down after half an hour. Say Barnet conceded quite early as well, and then obviously Saturday against Forest Green conceded early again. When you're on a bit of a downward spiral, your confidence is knocked, and it's hard to come back.
So I mean, obviously Chris very, very well, and you obviously know what the job that he's done. How difficult is it to be, or has it difficult been York City manager in the last, let's say, season and a half, obviously with all these financial problems and things like that?
It's very difficult. I mean, the manager's job itself, without being a player, is a difficult job at any club. I've had a little taste of it since I've been at York, and seeing what Chris has done you know, behind the scenes, you know, the phone calls, his phone never stops ringing, you know, the press, you know, going out watching games and all the other sorts of stuff, and, you know, going through team reports and you know, deciding what your team is, deciding what the opposition are like. So there's a lot goes into it, you know, and sorting out away trips and, you know, the arrangements and stuff like that. So there's a lot to go on being a manager, and then obviously he's got his playing side as well, where he's got to go on the pitch, prepare himself for that, you know, and try and put in a performance from his own point of view to help the team. So, you know, it's he's doing two jobs in one, and it's very difficult.
So it must have kind of been quite upsetting for him to hear kind of the chants, you know, brass out, all the kind of stuff on Saturday, obviously with the Forest Green. Obviously we'll hear that when we showed the goals. You can't really avoid it, but obviously there is the personal side to it. It must be difficult to take that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he's a brave lad, you know, and he can shoulder that, and he can take it, and I'm sure he'll say with the recent results, you know, he's probably expected it, but he can handle that. But the people you feel for, his family, you know, I was in the stand, his wife and his dad are there watching, his little girls there, you know, and you feel for them, because it's, you know, it's not nice from their point of view, but, you know, he's like he's said himself, he's big enough and old enough and possibly ugly enough as well to take all the flack that he, you know, not that he got a lot of flack, but, you know, the little bits and pieces he did get, he can handle that, and he'll come. The one thing he will do, he'll come back a stronger person for the experience anyway.
And so obviously Viv Busby's taken caretaker manager. Obviously Viv came in a few weeks ago. What's your impression of Viv as a coach and as a guy? He's very, very lively, very bubbly, nice fella as well. He's got a wealth of experience. You know, I think he was probably the natural choice with what happened yesterday with Chris. You know, and he's, you know, I think he'll hopefully do well for the club. His experience at Everton and, you know, with York previously and Sunderland, you know, he's got a good background. Well, we'll have a look at what happened on Saturday. We've got the goals and some of the action from the game, from the home game with Forest Green, which played on Saturday. This is after only 73 seconds. Now, this kind of defending, when you're watching this, you're not in the side, that must kind of make you tear your hair out a little bit, Steve. Yeah, it's disappointing that the lad's under no pressure when he's crossing the ball. And then the centre forward's just pulled off the back of Sean Davis there, and possibly look at the goalkeeper, but I don't think so. It's a ball that's coming from out to win. And this is another. This is again quite early in the game. It's a chance, good save by David Stockdale. Yeah, he's probably one of the good pluses of the season. He's been outstanding. Do you think perhaps that mentally they might have still been in the changing room, because they seem to start very slowly in this game? Yeah, I think everyone was aware of the importance of the game, but it's like we said earlier on, you know, you go goal down after 70 odd seconds and your confidence is knocked. That's Andy Bishop, nice glancing header hitting the post there. I mean, that would have put us back in the game. Yeah, you'd like to think if that went in, you'd go on and win the game then.
So you don't seem to have much luck for this season.
But again, this is defending, which, you know, there's something Viv Busby might have to work on. Well, it's poor to say the least of it. But even then, you talk about the luck. I mean, Gaz and Sean Davis have gone for the ball, and it's just broke, you know, right in the path of their centre forward, if you see it here. And, I mean, and to be fair, it's a good finish. It's not an easy finish, and he stuck it in the top corner. Yeah.
And Gary Pearson's played well all season as well.
He has.
Whatever role they've put him in.
Yeah, he has done very well.
Because he's gone to the back since your injury, hasn't he? And he's been, you know, he's obviously started in midfield and then got suspended after the first game. But you know, he's been a very good player. Yeah. This is the third goal, again, unmarked. Yeah. But it's poor. You know, the lad's got a cross, you know, under no pressure. It's a good ball in as well, to be fair. And the lad's hit the ball into the ground, and it's bounced over Stockdale. It was it's not a clean finish. That's his hat-trick goal. Yeah, you're looking at that and you're thinking another day, you know, he would have got a good connection. It would have gone straight to Stockley. Yeah, and he might have served it. But and this is obviously, I mean, David Stockdale has probably been one of the big pluses of the season. This is a save he made, which, I mean, this could have been 4-0 at home to Forest Green. Thank God it wasn't. This is a great save.
It's a long range one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
Great, that's a very good
Good
save.
strike, good save.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can describe that as a TV save. I think it's a genuinely good save.
Yeah, it's not for the cameras, that
No.
one, is it? It is a good one, yeah.
And then eventually we do actually score a goal, so obviously in injury time. Again, I mean, when you look at our strikers, you've obviously had Paul Robinson, you've had Lev Yelchin and Andy Bishop.
Yeah.
How come we've struggled to score goals?
I don't know. I think one of the problems is we don't get enough quality crosses into the box. I think but we get into the positions to cross the ball, but too many of them go, don't miss the first man. So the likes of Lev and Bish and Lee Nogan and Paul Robinson aren't, they're not getting that many chances to score. Yeah, we've got to, Lev's done well there, got down the side, good shot, keeper saved it, and it was a good finish from Bish. But for the amount of times we do get in wide positions, we should be getting more quality crosses in, I think.
So, how does a group of players who obviously work hard on the training ground all week, the manager's telling them instructions, he picks the side, the morale, by the sound of it, it's been quite good. So how can they then go out onto the pitch and just suddenly seem to forget everything that they've been told? Or
I think fear comes into it. Confidence, a lack of confidence produces fear. And because of the injuries, we have had a few young lads playing in the side, and it's not just them. I'm not by any means singling out the younger lads, but if you have got more experienced players in, that hopefully you would like to think that could handle the pressure of the game, because it was a big game on Saturday. Everyone was aware that we needed to win against Forest Green just purely because of their record, and some people can handle it, some people cannot.
Do you think that explains why perhaps players like Paul Groves and Lee Nogan kind of do take a lot more flack from the crowd than someone like, for example, Sean Davis?
Yes, possibly. I think a supporter watching would expect the experienced players to bring the younger ones through, and there is a lot of talking goes on the pitch. I used to get criticised for not being vocal enough, but I used to say, well, if I'm playing alongside you, I don't have to be shouting for everyone else to hear. You can hear what I'm saying now without everyone else having to hear it. So there is a lot of talking goes on the pitch, and and when you're on a difficult run, you want your experienced players to come through.
Paul Robinson never seems to stop talking. I can hear him up in the
Well, he talks absolute rubbish.
I can hear him. He does sound like rubbish, I must admit.
Yeah, no, he's a good lad. He's like that. He's like a lively, bubbly lad who never shuts up. Like he's certainly good in the dressing room.
Right, well, obviously that's an interesting insight. Now, after the break, we're going to talk to you a bit more about yourself and your career. So, stay with us. We've got Steve Davis with us here, and we're having a quick break now, so see you in a minute.
I make a difference. I make a difference.
I make a difference.
I make a difference.
I make a difference.
I make a difference.
We make a difference.
Help Covance's Clinical Research Unit make a difference. If you have been surgically sterilised or postmenopausal, you could earn up to £2,000. Call today to see if you could make a difference. 0800 591 570.
Covance, a world leader. Testing tomorrow's medicines today.
Join me, Dawn,
And me, Nick, every Friday for York Today.
at 7:30
And 5:30pm.
A look at the local news,
Current affairs.
the weather and what's on for the weekend.
Not forgetting the lifestyle section.
Are you part-timers doing it once a week? I'm on a Monday, a Tuesday and a Thursday.
And me, Paul, on a Wednesday.
Thank you. That's got to be a wrap.
Hello and welcome to Huntington Stadium. Welcome back to part 3 of Miles Offside, and we're talking about York City tonight, and our special guest is the York City captain, Steve Davis. Before we could ask Steve about his very, very illustrious career, and I've got his statistics in front of me, Dave, we've got a text message.
Yes, from Daly. Does Steve feel that Chris Brass will be able to readjust to just being a player and take orders from someone else? And he also wants to know in what way has Viv Busby been influential since he's arrived?
I think Chris he'll be able to bed back in. He was well respected from all the players. I think it's going to be difficult at the start for him. It's something he'll have to get over in his own mind. But I'm sure the lads would welcome him back into the dressing room.
Do you think maybe he'll enjoy the pressure being off a little bit and to just be a player again rather than thinking about everything else he's had to think about?
I think it'll certainly help him in the short term. Yeah, I'm sure knowing Chris, he'll want to have another crack at being a manager somewhere. But it will give him a chance to concentrate on his own career. I mean, after all, he's only 28, I think, 29.
Yeah.
So he's still got a lot of football left in him. So
time's on his side this time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, of course, he's got plenty of time to get back into it.
And Viv Busby, how influential has he been since I think we've talked a little bit about that. But
he's been good. I think we're talking about taking the pressure off Chris. And that's what Viv did. He came in and he sort of took the sessions when Chris was playing, so he didn't have as much responsibility coaching wise. Could concentrate on his own fitness and his own form and whatnot, and he's just brought a few ideas and with formations and who he thinks should be in the team and stuff like that. So he's just had a general input really, but mainly taking the workload off Chris from day to day.
Well, Daly, I hope that's answered your question. Now, obviously thinking about you, Steve, I've got your stats in front of me of your appearances, which is pretty impressive. Now, a quick roundup. 203 games for Burnley in your first spell, 25 goals. Then you went to Luton for £750,000.
Yes.
174 games for Luton, 27 goals. Then you went back to Burnley for £750,000, same fee.
Yeah.
So it's a bit. Burnley obviously kept the money in the safe and then gave it straight back. 167 games for Burnley, 23 goals. Then you went to Blackpool last season, 29 games and 1 goal. And obviously you played 6 games this season for City.
Yes.
Now the Tamworth game, by my very poor maths, I reckon I've got it right, is your 600th senior appearance. Is that right?
I think someone told me that one of the young lads was doing something at college and said I'd played 605.
Yeah, so you played 605 games and scored 76 goals, which is again bad maths, but a goal every 7 games, which for a defender is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So obviously when you're 20 years from now, when you've hung up your boots and you're sitting by the fire smoking your pipe, I mean you must be pretty happy with that career.
Yeah, I'm delighted. I mean when you start out as a young lad, I started at Southampton, go down there and you're hoping you're going to make the grade, and to be sitting here at 36 and still involved, it's it does make you proud that you've done something.
What is your kind of proudest moment or proudest moments as a footballer?
I think possibly I made my debut at Southampton against Norwich in the old First Division Premier League now. Matt Letizia scored a hat-trick, so that was a memorable night. Playing at Wembley in the playoff final and the promotions I've had as well with Burnley. So they've all been highlights.
And so obviously Burnley, we used to spar against them for a couple of years when you first played for them. What was your impressions of memories of playing against York? Obviously it's a bit of a shadow compared to what it was then.
Yeah, well the biggest memory is the fact when we won the 4th Division Championship, we won it at York.
That's what they always say, that one.
Yeah, well it was a great night. I can remember I think the kick-off was delayed, to get all the supporters in and you're hoping you're going to win, and then we won in the last minute. And the supporters coming on, and I know it's not very nice for you at the minute, is it?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
but it was that was a special night, and and the promotions generally, when you've achieved something like a promotion over the course of a season, you've come out to be one of the top 2 or in the top 6 as it is with the playoffs. You've had a pretty good time.
Yeah, obviously before the show I reminded you that you finished 6th when you got promoted at Wembley and we were 5th, but never mind, we won't dwell on that. But also, are there any things you would have done differently in your career? Do you have any regrets at all?
I haven't got any at all, no. That's one thing I am like that. I always try and look forward. I think there's no point in looking back and thinking I wish I'd done this or I wish I'd done that, because you can't change it. So just always look forward and onwards and upwards.
Now, I've heard a story that last season when you were at Blackpool, York City tried to sign you twice. Is that true?
I didn't know it was twice. I know it was once. I'd heard that just before deadline day that they tried to get us, but Blackpool wouldn't let me out. So that was disappointing. But I'm here now, so I'm pleased about that.
And so, why did you decide to join York City?
Obviously, with last season with York, the relegation, knowing the manager, and I wanted to try and help him. And obviously, there was a chance to get me feet in on the other side as well, with the coaching and going watching games and doing match reports and stuff like that, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. Especially with us being injured.
And to come in as captain, it's quite a...
Well, it's always it's a privilege to be captain at any club. I'm being fortunate that I've captained all the clubs I've played for, and to be captain of York is as big and as makes me as proud as any of my previous clubs. So it's a good honour.
Now, obviously, recently, as everybody knows, you haven't been playing because of injury. Could you tell us about your injury and what the current state is?
Well, I did it at Dagenham, as probably everyone knows. I got a tear in my hip joint, and there was also a fair bit of cartilage needed cleaning out. So I've had the operation on that. I see the surgeon again on Friday, and hopefully he'll tell me that everything's going to plan, and hopefully be back by Christmas, New Year, ready for the Sea Dogs, I think they're called.
So you hope you're back for the derby, are you?
Well, hopefully. I'd like to be in contention for selection anyway, put it that way.
I see. Okay, well, let's hope so, because I've just seen... I mean, obviously...
I'm going to need you.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need you. But obviously, we've talked about some of the younger lads that you've got there, and I understand you'd also do a bit of coaching. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
I've done little bits of coaching, yeah. Obviously, with being injured, not as much as I would have liked. I've done a couple of sessions and took the forwards on Friday for a bit of finishing, which didn't do any good. But
that's your fault, is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I didn't take the wingers though.
Oh, right.
So, and done little bits of heading, and but the majority of my stuff's been, with doing match reports and stuff like that. Obviously, with not playing, I've been going and watching teams and formations and stuff like that. So it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
And writing your column in the programme.
Yes, I have. Yes, I do write that.
You do write it, because it's speculation. Obviously, when you get footballers writing things, you sometimes think, do they really do it? But,
yeah, I do. Yeah, they've got to be in every Tuesday or Wednesday. So yes, I can put my name to them, even if they are bad. But I do my best.
And so, obviously, you get into the stage now where, without being disrespectful, you're not a spring chicken of 20 years old. Mm-hmm. Can you see yourself a future in management? Is that something you'd like to get into?
Definitely, yes. I'd like to get involved at some point. I'm on with my coaching badges, so I'd like to give something back to football at some level. But ultimately, I would like to be a manager.
Because obviously Chris Brass is 28, as we mentioned, which is 8 years younger than you. Again, my maths is in play. I mean, you must kind of, when you see him, you must think to yourself, well, perhaps his career has almost been, I wouldn't say taken from him, but you see what I mean. He's got a lot more football to play.
Yeah.
And you're still playing at 36, and he's kind of under all this pressure at 28. So obviously, people like yourself, Lee Nogan, who's obviously player coach, obviously Paul Groves has had a taste of it. I mean, does it put you off?
Not at all. No. I mean, it drives you on. You want to succeed. You want to, you want to see whether you can succeed, really. I mean, I would hate to have to retire and think, well, I haven't had a go at it, because I might be good at it. I might fail miserably, but I'd like to have a go and see what happens.
It does seem to be a thankless task, though, managing a club.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you have to take all the criticism, and every time something goes wrong, it's the manager's fault, which isn't always the case.
No, that's right. There's a lot of things go on behind the scenes that people don't realise. Your financial things and and all the other stuff that goes on. But if you are successful, you take all the plaudits as well. So you've got to be able to take the other side of it.
True, but it is a very tight financial situation at York, and Chris Ross has been operating under sort of a lot of restrictions, really.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd had more money to spend than he would have been able to. I wonder if Busby really has any money to bring anybody else in.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know on that one, but
I would guess probably not. Because of the budget for the season, they're not just going to. Money's not just going to grow on trees all of a sudden because you've got a new man in. But
no, that's right.
But being a footballer these days, I suppose in a way you've had your career during the good times. Obviously now salaries are going down.
Yeah.
A lot of players are only getting 1 year contracts or shorter term contracts rather than the old 3 or 4 year contracts.
Yeah.
So the young lads coming into it now that you see and you play with, your Brian Stewart's and your Sean Davis. Perhaps they kind of say to you, I wish I'd done what you'd done and started football when you did.
No, I've never had that, but I know what you mean. It was when the Sky Digital was on, you're thinking if a young lad can come through and make a name for himself, he's only got to work 5 or 6 years and he's going to be set for life with the money that was knocking around at the top end of the First Division and certainly in the Premiership. But now the bottom's falling out of the football, and like you said, if you can get a 1 year contract somewhere, then you're doing all right, because there's that many players on Bosmans and free transfers. It is becoming a rat race to get a club.
And all these young lads with families. Everyone kind of criticises footballers and says it's a kind of glamorous lifestyle. But if you're working year to year, it must be very, very difficult.
Yeah, it is. It's unsettling. Obviously, for a young lad to be able to get on in the housing market, you want to buy a house. You say you need a 100,000 mortgage or whatever.
In York, you certainly do, yeah.
And you've got a 1 year contract. You've still got to pay your mortgage if you get released at the end of the year. So there's a lot of pressure, but it's. If he can rise to the pressure, and some people, it'll spur them on to make sure that they do the best and make sure they get another year after that, and then another year or a move.
Because something we almost probably should get used to as City fans is that every year there's going to be a mass clear out every year, because that's the way football seems to be these days.
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely a big turnaround in there now. Certainly there was a lot of players from York left at the end of last season, and I imagine they'll be the same again this year.
And very few of them actually got contracts with league clubs, so a lot of them kind of went off to the Harrogate Towns of this world, and not that I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but Stafford Rangers, etc. So it must be.
It's difficult. Yeah, it's a difficult time. And there is you've certainly. When I started, there wasn't the money there, and you used to say, if you can get something else to go alongside your football in case it doesn't happen. You'd be wise to do it, and I think that's true again now. I know Darren Dunnan, he's doing a plumbing course.
We'll have to stop you, Steve.
Sorry.
We're going to have a break now, but we'll be talking to Steve again after the break.
Each variety of fight, feel alive.
Join me, Dawn.
And me, Nick, every Friday for York Today.
At 7:30 a.m.
And 5:30 p.m.
A look at the local news,
current affairs,
the weather and what's on for the weekend.
Not forgetting the lifestyle section.
Your part-timers doing it once a week. I'm on a Monday, a Tuesday and a Thursday.
And me, Paul, on a Wednesday.
Thank you. That's got to be a wrap.
Hello and welcome to Huntington Stadium. Welcome back to the final part of Miles Offside, and we're still here with Steve Davis, the York City captain, and we're going to look at what's coming up this weekend in both the Premiership and, well, there's no conference fixtures this weekend, so it's the first round of the FA Cup, which unfortunately York City are not participating in for the first time in 70 odd years, so we'll try and pick out some interesting fixtures. There aren't many. So Dave, we'll start with the Premiership.
Yes, might as well start with the earlier games. Tottenham Arsenal.
So the London derby, yeah. So what's your prediction for that, Dave?
Well, it's all a bit mad, isn't it? Because Arsenal haven't had a great sort of last few games. They'll obviously want to win at White Hart Lane. Tottenham have got something to prove. They've got a new manager and everyone's playing for the place. So I think that could be quite an interesting one. And there's no love lost. So,
yeah.
You know.
So Steve, we talked obviously about Chris Brass and Jacques Santini, you know, on a lot more money than Chris Brass has walked out on his job already. So, I mean, you probably wouldn't have much hope for a Tottenham victory this weekend.
No, I don't think so. I think Arsenal they'll have too much, I think. Like you said, they've had a disappointing run lately, so they'll want to get back to winning ways.
Well, I think they will.
And another big derby.
Yeah, this is one for you, actually, Steve.
Southampton, Portsmouth.
Yeah, where you started your career. It's the big derby this weekend.
It is, yeah. Well, Southampton are desperate for a win, aren't they, with Wigley? I mean, Wigley's desperate for a win anyway. Portsmouth, before last Saturday, were on a good run. I think the manager of the month sort of voodoo sign went on Redknapp, didn't it, at Villa? So
that always happens for some
Yeah, I know it does, doesn't it? Yeah. But I don't know. I think I'll go for a Portsmouth win on that one.
God, I hope you don't know anybody still at Southampton. Yeah, because I mean there is a chance that your old club might go down this year.
Yeah, there is. I think they've been in the Premiership or the old First Division for I don't know how many years. So it'll be a sad day for their supporters anyway if they do go down.
Yeah, you'll be playing Burnley, have you?
Yes, that'll be a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Another team in trouble is Blackburn. They've got to go away to Manchester City.
Yeah. Okay, I think City should win that one, but you never know with these Northwest derbies. I mean, you've been in plenty of Northwest derbies with obviously Blackburn and teams like that. So I mean, in the Northwest, these derbies are quite important, aren't they? With local politics.
Yeah, there's a big rivalry all over the Northwest. So yeah, that'll be a good game. I've never been to Man City's new ground, but the pitch always looks big. Main Road was massive, you know. So if Man City with the likes of Wright Phillips can get it out wide and whatever, I think they'll have too much for Blackburn.
I like the look of that young lad for City as well, Willow Flood.
Willow Flood, yeah, he's a good player. Yeah, and obviously with your Burnley connections, you'll be anti-Blackburn.
Yes, Man City all the way on that one.
Right. Okay.
Liverpool, Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Now Palace have got a bit of a run together.
Yeah, and Liverpool have a bit of a slump in form, lost to Birmingham. So
you still think they'd have too much for Palace though, really, but
yeah, I mean
maybe not. It's a hard one to call.
I mean, obviously you've got experience of playing in the First Division, and the gap between the First Division and the Premiership seems to get wider. But this season, I mean, Palace haven't disgraced themselves by any means.
They've done very well. I think under Ian Dowie, I think he's one of the new emerging managers. Was very highly thought of at Oldham when he was there. I think he's got new ideas. His training's different. He had the Oldham players in at 8 o'clock swimming, you know, twice a week, I think, you know, which didn't go down too well with some
City
of them.
Players just do yoga, don't they?
Yes, that's right. That's hard work though, the yoga. It is hard work. I'll challenge you to that one day, because he do come out with a sweat on, believe it or not.
Oh dear. Okay.
He's employed an Australian fitness coach, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Got a rugby league background.
Yeah, that's
I think
right.
he's working them really hard.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously working.
Yeah. They've done well lately, haven't they?
Yeah, because haven't City lost their fitness coach? Is it Kev Hornsby? He's not.
Yes, he's gone. Yeah.
So has that affected the level of fitness?
I don't think so. No, I think that the training's hard enough, and we've had a lot of games lately as well. So you keep your fitness through the games. But it was sad to see Kev go, because he did very well. Certainly the pre-season was excellent.
Well, I saw you at the Infill Barracks when you did the assault course, and rather you than me.
I wouldn't fancy doing that again. Didn't enjoy that.
We've got another derby as well, West London this time, Fulham and Chelsea.
Yeah, it's be derby weekend this weekend.
Yeah.
Fulham against Chelsea.
Fulham have just had a really good result.
Yeah.
You'd still think Chelsea would.
Yeah, they tend to kind of lay down and die in front of Chelsea a little bit, though, don't they? I think Chelsea will win that one. I don't know. I mean, when you look at Fulham, I mean, as you've played them many times. I mean, I was mentioned on last week's show. I went there to watch them play City, and City beat them 1-0.
Yeah.
To see them where they are, must be. I mean, look, obviously clubs like Burnley and Luton, they must look at that and think, well, we can do it. I mean, okay, they've got millions behind them, but their infrastructure's no better than at Burnley or Luton.
No, not at all. I think it's a tough game for them, that though, and at Chelsea. I mean, you watched Match of the Day on Saturday, and that Robin's some player, isn't he? I mean, he's just got the lot. I don't know what he's like at heading the ball, but he's certainly got everything else.
That's true. Okay, what else have we got?
Charlton Norwich.
Charlton Norwich.
I thought we had Southampton. I got that one wrong.
Yeah, you did.
No. I can't get
Charlton Norwich. Charlton Norwich. Well, I don't think they'll get any change from Charlton. I think, obviously, with our former York City goalkeeper Dean Kiley, he's probably one of the best players City have had in our history, really.
Yeah.
International player. Great goalkeeper.
He's gone on to have a great career, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Did well. Yeah, they had a good result, obviously, at Tottenham Saturday, so full of confidence. Norwich, desperate for the win, aren't they? So, you never know.
Bolton, Aston Villa.
Yep.
That's
another
a tough
game
one.
in the northwest there. Bolton.
I mean, back Bolton at home, I think.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? I mean, I actually went to this match last season when Bolton played Villa, and it was a 2-2 draw. It was a good game, but I don't know, Bolton's, I mean, everyone talks about English football and we're getting more sophisticated with all these foreign managers, but Bolton have got your traditional English game, and they're doing really well. I mean, do you think coaching there is still a place for that kind of English style of play in the Premiership?
I think so, yeah. I think it's been proved with Bolton. I mean, they've got it off to a T. Kevin Davis up front, big target man. They use him well.
Pedersen as well. He's another big
Pedersen.
And they've got more than the fair share of foreigners at Bolton, but they've got them playing in an English style.
Well, you look at a Kocher as well. I mean, he's got the flair, hasn't he, and all the rest of it to go with it. So they've got a good blend. But with Sam Allardyce, I know from one of the lads at Burnley who went on loan at Bolton, he said that the high tech, to the nth degree. I mean, he knows everything about the opposition. He gives him dossiers on your team, and it's really in depth at Bolton. So he's done a great job, hasn't he, Allardyce?
And he gets paid for it as well. Highest paid English manager.
Is he?
Yeah, so obviously everyone else is foreign, aren't they? So
he had a 10-year contract as well, didn't he? Or he's only got 5 left?
I think it's only 5 left, yeah. We seem to talk about him every week, and I think he's one of our, just get him on sometime.
I like some of that.
I mean, when you look at international, the future of our international team is, you had Middlesbrough, Bolton, you've either got Steve McLaren, who's obviously from York, and him. I mean, they are kind of the shining lights.
Yeah, they are.
So, what else we got?
Birmingham Everton is the evening kick-off.
Birmingham Everton, that's the 5:15 game.
Everton doing well.
Yeah, Birmingham.
Still a tricky place to go, though.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be a draw. I think Birmingham have had their luck against a Scouse team.
And on Sunday, West Brom, Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
And Newcastle, Man United.
Newcastle, Man United. Now your accent gives you away. You're from the northeast.
I am.
So
I'm from Newcastle, but I'm a Sunderland supporter.
Oh dear.
So I'm looking at a Man United win on that
Is
one.
that why you moved to Luton as far away as possible?
I get away.
A Man United win.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I see. So have you ever played against Sunderland for Burnley?
Yes. No, for Luton I did.
For Luton.
Played in the league, and then we played them in the quarter-finals of the League Cup as well. So.
Because Brassy's a Sunderland fan as well.
He is, yeah. There's a few. Robbo is as well. Gary Pearson. So. Yeah, could talk for hours on Sunderland.
Dear me. Okay, well, good luck at asking you questions. Okay, and then we've also got the FA Cup. So I've picked out what I think to be some of the more interesting fixtures. They're still not very interesting. So obviously teams in the conference. You've got your old club Blackpool are at home to Tamworth. So that should be an easy win for the Seasiders there. Now, you've got to mention Carlisle, who knocked us out of the cup. We would love to have been playing Bristol Rovers away. That would have been a nice bit of coin for the club.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would have been obviously badly needed as well, but not to be. But it'll be a tough game there. Bristol Rovers going well in League 2, and Carlisle obviously going well as well. So
we've got Forest Green draw. Yeah.
Draw.
Forest Green are obviously having beaten us on Saturday, and now going to play Bournemouth at home. That's quite a tough game for them.
It is, yeah. Bournemouth done well in the League Cup, didn't they, before they were knocked out. You go for a Bournemouth win there, I think. I think they'd have too much for Forest Green.
Yeah. And then so you've got Hull against Morecambe, Halifax against Cambridge United. Now there's a bit of a London derby. Orient against Dagenham and Redbridge. Obviously up here we're not that bothered about that, but I'm sure down there that's quite a big game. Obviously that was your last game you played at Dagenham. What kind of impression did you have of that place?
I thought, well, of the ground wasn't too good. The pitch was decent. It was red hot, absolutely roasting. But I didn't think Dagenham were the best. No great shake. So Orient are going well in League Two as well. So you'd expect them to come out on top. I think quite comfortably.
And one club you went to on loan, Notts County.
Yes.
Playing at Woking. Should be home win.
Yes, true. I'm Notts County at home. Are they?
Home to Woking, yeah.
You'd expect them to, they had a good result, didn't they, at the weekend. You'd expect them to come out on top. Yeah, their home win again. Yeah. I think.
Well,
That's about it.
That's about it. I can't be. It's too depressed to do that.
That's for the first
round. That's for the first round of the FA Cup. So, obviously, thinking about the future, Steve. Before, as now we're obviously running out of time a little bit, but so where do you think City can go on from the current situation this season?
I think the main thing is, as it is with any season, is to make sure you get enough points so you're not relegated. That goes whether you're in the Conference, Premiership or whatever. So that obviously that'll be the first target, and then it'll just be to try and get as many points as possible and see where we go, and how far it takes us. I'd like to think we could still get into the playoffs if we can put a good run together, but it would have to be a good run.
So apparently we're only 7 points behind the playoffs, as bad as we seem to have been playing.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, there's a big difference in points in there from fourth bottom to the bottom three. So if you can get a good run together, everyone's capable of beating everyone else. That's the beauty of the conference.
That is one thing I've noticed this season. You can't take any games for granted, and sometimes you go and you think they're going to hammer them, but everyone seems to be quite evenly matched. Some odd results do come up.
Well, you look at our result at Dagenham. I think people were expecting that to be a tougher game than it was. And then, of course, you got Saturday. Forest Green, as I said, 4 points from 15 games, and I wouldn't say they were world beaters, but they were better than some of them. I mean, some of the teams like Northwich and Lee, I mean, they were nothing compared to Forest Green.
They did well. But it's like it was said earlier on. If you get a goal in the first couple of minutes, it doesn't matter who you are. You get a lot of confidence from that, and obviously then to go 2-0 up, you're flying then, and you just got to be good enough to see the game out.
And so, obviously, we've got the caretaker manager in now. I won't ask if you think he'll take it on permanently, because obviously nobody knows really. No. But I mean, this season, what would you be happy with, satisfied with, let's say, in terms of where we finish in the league? I think we won't get relegated.
We won't get relegated. No, we won't get relegated. I think we've still got to be looking towards getting into the playoffs. It's like we said. I didn't realise.
Do you honestly? I mean, it sounds funny, but do you believe we can do that? I mean, seriously, because
I think we can. It only takes getting on a good run. If you get 4 or 5 wins on the bounce, you're back in there. And if you're playing the teams.
Well, I admire your confidence.
Yes.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. All the best to your injury. I hope you're back to face Scarborough.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks to Dave, and we'll see you next week.